Welcome to Soul Conversations with Sandra. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you for being here. I choose to rise. I choose to always shine. What I have been shown, I choose to always keep on. I choose to move forward and I choose to move through awareness. Why? Because I am aware. I wrote that this morning through Source. I am thoroughly happy to be here again on a Friday with this podcast. I am going to be introducing a what is possibly a great spiritual friend and soul family and collaborator through Soul and Source. And Kevin's going to be here in a minute from Lakeside, let me get it right, Lakeside Wellness, and he's a Reiki master. And he also does oracle readings. I think he even does Reiki on animals, right? I think I'm going to have to bring my dog in and let him sit down and get some Reiki energy, right? Welcome, P. Welcome, Mazeret. Welcome, Gisela. As soon as Kevin enters this room, this sacred room where everyone is welcome, we will. Hi, King James. Welcome. We will get started. I hope you have your questions ready. Put them in the question box. I won't tell you to keep them short, but I won't tell you that you can't keep them long. But we are going to respect everyone's time here and ask as many questions as we need to know about energy, right? Energy and light and awareness is who we are and what our beingness is inside. No matter how we celebrate it, no matter how we give thanks and grace for it, no matter whether we call it Almighty God or whether we call it the divine creator or awareness or the matrix. It doesn't matter. It's still energy, and we were created full of that energy. And this, I apologize ahead of time that my internet over here, we have an overcast day, and it will give me a message that says poor connection. I will, so that everyone will be able to hear me, I will take a moment, take a pause, wait for the connection to reconnect. It tells me on my end, and so that everybody hears everything that's being said. Please do respect the fact that this is a podcast, so I know that people will want to add themselves to the conversation, but I would like to keep it to just myself and Kevin, and so that we can ask your questions and so that we can get as much information in this hour, 15 minutes, or who knows, you never know. Source moves, and when Source moves, we go with the flow. Kevin has now entered the room, the space. I'm going to let him in. Be patient with me while I do this. All right, let's see. Let's welcome him in. Let's give it a great big smile, take a couple of deep breaths in and release it out, and welcome this magnificent being in. And
Trying to get my camera fixed here. Hold on one second. Woo. There we go.
There we go. Here we
How are you?
are. Welcome.
Welcome to you also.
P, do you have a voice recorder as well? Do I have a voice recorder? I'm not sure. If you're talking about on my phone, most likely I do. Have I checked it out, P? Not really. So I will save this live, will be saved, of course, as all my others. It will be available in my bio, as well as I will let Kevin know that I do have my Hold on. Source is giving me some information. Okay. That made me giggle. I'm on Spotify as well as YouTube. If there is something very personal to you that you do not want out in the internet, please refrain from saying it, because I
Oh yeah,
want to share. I want to share you everywhere. All right.
sure, absolutely.
Okay. And also to let anybody know that if you have private questions that you do not want out in the ether, please do not ask them. All right.
Right.
So are we ready?
I am ready for
Okay.
sure.
All right. So I want to know about you. Okay. I want to know about what I have noticed. Okay. This is what I have noticed. And this is my
Mhm.
question. The energy that you allow to heal others resonates so vibrantly. It's all over you. It's everywhere. I think it's in it. It goes before you and it comes after you, and everywhere
Mhm.
that you are, even when you take the walks on the beach. How did you get there?
Oh boy,
Is that a
that's a long
loaded
story.
question? Where do you
It's a big one. It's a big one. Yeah. Goodness, I just came from the beach actually.
have, and that's what
Mm.
I know. I noticed when you attempted to pick the fish up.
Oh,
I mean, there was energy there. You pick the
yeah.
fish up and you put it upright and let it try to swim away. And then
Hmm.
whoever was there with you also did it too. I saw
My
this
daughter.
energy. That
Yeah.
was your daughter. That energy
Hmm.
was like pinging off of everything. I felt it, right?
Hmm.
So
It is. It's amazing. I find myself asking the question to myself, why me? I I've always seemed to ask that. Why me? Why is this happening to me? What if, why? You know, it's like here I am. I'm an electrician from Ohio. I, I don't know, but the journey is why. I think it's beyond that. I think this goes beyond star seeds, and I do know now that I am not a star seed. I was here far, far before star seeds were sent out, before the worlds were created, you know?
mhm, yeah.
And oh my goodness. But anyways, we can start at the beginning, and I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible because there's a lot of years wrapped up into this story, you know? Um,
We and that's why I have asked the question, because most of us um, we think of the most detrimental moment that moved us to our awakening. That kind of like that kind of like either it's the most miserable moment, the
mm,
most distracting moment in our lives, and there are there is much more to our life journey that wakes us up, and that's why I asked that. That's why
there
that I think that
is a lot.
yeah.
Hmm. There is a ton. So first of all, since my earliest memories, probably around 2 years old, I have been able to interact with spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them, entities, they're all the same to me. I've been able to interact with them, see them, have things moved from me, and I would pull them back. That was never uncommon for me. And also a huge empath, big for his sense of birth. Okay, I've been able to feel their feelings, and that right there is what kind of brought up a lot of confusion And as a child, I was very small. I was a very, very small child. So I was bullied a lot, a lot. Okay. And this went all the way up into adulthood. Okay. People just, I look back now and I don't blame any of those people. You know, for some reason that's their path. And I accept it now. And it was my path. I didn't know why people were so mean, but I know now. It's an energy that has been there forever. It's just been with me,
Mm.
and
Okay.
and it would set other people off. It would it kind of, I don't know what it would do. It would mirror their triggers maybe, or something like that. But I was just always they just always seemed to gravitate towards me, and I was quiet. You know, I wasn't an a-hole per se. You know, I was just a quiet kid that felt and saw everything. My great aunt, she was very wise, very wise. She saw things in me, and so did my grandmother. She, they both saw something that was, you know, beyond your regular intelligence from school or whatever, how people hold all that stuff at such a high level.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't, you know, it wasn't the case with my grandmother and my great aunt. They saw something so much. They saw a kindness towards animals. They saw everything, which I got. My great aunt was also that way, very kind to every single living creature. And then you're told your whole life, you know, oh yeah, we love you, we love you. You know, you're told you're loved by so many people, but you know what love should feel like. And you're thinking, then the confusion sets in, and all these people telling you they love you, but yet they're so mean. They are so hurtful. And that then started the trauma growing up, let's say, growing up with narcissism all around you.
Mm.
Okay. It was around me. I lived in the same household. It was just, it was rough. It really was. But something kept, sorry, I got an eyelash that's bugging me. There it is. Um, but something kept pushing me forward. I
Mm-hmm.
I was absolutely miserable, and it was so hard, okay? And I would internalize it
Oh.
all of it, okay? Because I had nowhere to go. I had no one to talk to about it. I would
Right.
try to talk to the people who were responsible for my traumas, but I wouldn't I wouldn't feel a return of energy. You know what I mean?
Yep.
My heart
I,
goes out, I feel nothing coming back.
right.
I would get short, very short answers. I'm just like, why are these kids so mean? Why do they do this to me? Why this? Why that? And you know, you get things, you get comments back like, kids are mean. That's just how they are. And
Right.
that's where it would stop. And I would get nothing, nothing. And
Right.
my grandmother, she was a very small woman, okay, but the heart of an elephant. She was like 4'9", okay, or 4'10", something like that. Just the sweetest woman, and she had love for everyone. It doesn't matter if you screwed her over or not. She would give you what she didn't even have, okay? That's the type of person she was. And that was great, okay? My great aunt and her, they gave me, but it wasn't constant. They lived far away. So I didn't get that as much as I needed. So I went through, I kept going, I kept going. So much terrible stuff happened, but for some reason, I just took it all in and I kept going. Youth today would have committed suicide at least 100 times with the things that I've been through.
Right.
No, they don't. And I know that this was all for a reason, okay? I was not allowed to give up. I was not.
Yeah. I
And
think
I kept going.
that's that story, that man story, you know, that you got to suck it up. You got to buck up a
Yeah.
little Temper.
It
You gotta.
was, yeah. Be tough. Just suck it in. That's just the way things are. Blah 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 blah. You heard it all.
Hmm. Yeah.
But it's like why are you telling me you love me when I don't feel that love back? You know, that was it,
Mhm.
and it stayed with. Okay, those people never change. They
Right.
never do. But I kept for the greater good of the family as a whole. I
Hmm.
kept everything inside. I apologized so many times in my life, and I just kept doing it just to try to keep things
To keep the peace.
to keep the peace. I apologized for so much.
Hmm.
It's I don't want to bring everybody down that's watching, but it's just what I had to do, I felt. And I just kept going, it kept going. And eventually you I just couldn't do it anymore. Things got really, really bad. I hit some depression along the way. Adulthood comes and everything just weighs down on you. Okay.
Right.
And I'm trying to be the best at every freaking thing I do.
Right.
Everything I do has got to be perfect because I always was trying to seek something, some acknowledgement,
Right.
from those who say they love me.
Hmm.
And I would just try and try and try and try everything that I ever wanted to do.
Hmm.
I just excelled at it.
Right.
As a child, I started martial arts, and it was hard to get family to even come watch me. Here I am, a child. I'm fighting men. you know, I'm fighting men, and but it's what it was, and every achievement was then taken from you and was turned around and acted like it was given to me by those people.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean?
Hmm.
All those achievements. Oh, well, you got that from me, or you got this and that. That's because of this. I was like, oh, and that was my childhood. Okay,
Hmm.
always. And then I tried to please everybody, bosses,
Hmm.
you name it, and then just turn around and get shit on. So for 40 some odd years, I was nothing but shit on by people, and I still would give my all.
Because nobody
And
that it should have been different. Nobody told you that that's not what love is, right?
right,
Yeah.
but I knew, but I had to learn. I had to figure out what love was the hard way, and that was when my grandmother passed.
Okay.
Um, a few year, four, maybe 4 years ago or so.
Hmm.
Everything in my family went to shit
Okay.
when she died. Everything. The My mother and her brothers they just fought. Okay, they disowned each other, and it was just a mess. They had nothing. My grandparents had nothing. Okay, they were very poor,
Hmm.
very poor. That and they fought over the littlest things. But and I noticed, and it just came to me in a vision or a message, whatever,
Hmm.
and it was that little woman's love that kept our entire family, my sister, my mother, my father, her brothers. My dad has no family, and it's it held us all together.
Right.
That is when I really, and this was I only figured this out. Now I only figured this out a year and a half ago,
Hmm.
something like that. It just came to me, or 2 years, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that little woman, that 4'9" tall little woman had enough love in her heart, pure, unconditional. That's the power. That's where the power lies. Unconditional love. No matter what you do, she would love you the same. And that love was so strong. We were 4 and 5 hours apart. We didn't have to be close together. It held us all. Somehow, it was the glue that held our entire family up.
That was some powerful energy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right?
Oh yeah.
Is
Yep.
that when you started to put,
That was pure love energy right there.
yeah, and that's
Yep.
when you, was that probably the moment that it started to resonate in you or within you?
No,
No?
no, and so like I said, it's a such a I could write a couple books. So going back, we're through childhood, the teenage years come, still the same, blah 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 blah. I never went to college, okay, and I was always looked down for that. But here I am, I own two businesses,
Right.
waterfront home, but that even doesn't excite me.
Okay.
I have zero motivation for money. Money does not motivate me at all.
Right.
So, I work, I had fun, I partied a lot, I drank a ton, okay? It
Yeah.
was it was not uncommon for me to go out on the boat, drink an entire case of beer, go home, drink until we get cleaned up to go to the bars, and then drink all night long. And
That was,
I could do handstands and walk home. It was just that's how much I drank. It just
mm,
and I had a good old time. I look back and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I just waged war on my my body for all those years.
really?
And so as I come out of that, I gather a few more extracurricular activities, competitive bodybuilding, this, that, and the other. I work for a few electrical companies here and there. And it was, I'm trying to think how many years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I would say, is when I first recognized this awakening. Probably 12 years ago. It's when I I started noticing people changing around me. Everyone was changing, it seemed like. But I was just maybe just still level old Kevbo, okay, just still chill. And then I would see best friends start stabbing each other in the back, talking crap like they do in the lunchroom at work or this or that. When work would get slow, everybody just started really doing each other wrong. And I'm thinking, my goodness. So that's when in this ascension process, there's that point where you start separating yourself from other humans because you no longer resonate with any of them.
Right.
Okay? None of them. You're thinking, there's no way. There's no way I am one of you. No way.
Right.
Look at how you're acting. Look at your behavior, and I'm feeling their energy too. And I didn't really know any of this stuff. I was not into this spiritual community then.
Mm.
So I was like,
What?
our whole life, all this weird shit's happening to me. And I've got this energy inside of me. Even as a child, it would build so much. And as a kid, I would think I was about ready to turn into the Incredible Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the energy I felt inside, it was going to just bust out of me, shine this massive beam straight to the freaking sky of just pure energy. And that's the way it felt when I was a little kid, all through my whole life. I still feel that, but now I know what it is.
Right. Right.
But I wasn't ready for it. There's no way. These gifts are not given to children. They're not given to those who have not done the work to clear all that damage done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's when people would go dark, and you don't want that. And there comes your dark magics, and the people just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here I am. 12 years ago, I split. I'm actually eating in a corner. We did massive buildings, okay, giant, and I would be somewhere completely alone. I would eat my lunch. I wouldn't talk to anybody because what they were saying did not resonate with me at all. I'm thinking, why is that even coming out of your guys' mouth? What? I just couldn't. nothing they said. It was all so, it felt so odd, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, like, why is that even up here? That's what I would think of them. And I got spread apart from more and more people. I was starting to drop friends. They weren't resonating anymore. It's like, we're just, there they go. They detach and they go. They detach, they go. But still don't know what the hell is going on. I'm thinking depression is coming over me at that stage. And I was just miserable where I was living. Everything just didn't fit. Nothing fit. Boom. There was a break in my ascension process, as far as I'm aware of, because moved states, packed up everything, moved, quit my job there, took a leap of faith to work with my family, which I got along with for the most part, and my sister worked with family. That went really bad. Okay, so a giant move, a big shift, starting a piggyback business upon a family business. I detached from that ascension. It was done. Okay, it was out of my mind. What was happening to me, the separation. I got some new friends, but then it just kicked my ass, literally beat the shit out of me, and it sent me on, I think, the fastest ascension journey I've ever heard of.
Okay.
And I know hundreds of people in the spiritual community, hundreds.
Okay. So when you speak of ascension journey, that would be the same as the dark night of the soul?
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no. Dark Night of the Soul is way worse.
Okay.
So I got, just because I pushed it away for so long. I was always meant for this, but there was so much damage done, so much
Mm-hmm.
that I had to get down to business. And they made me, Source made me get down to business. And I said they forcefully made me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
There was no choice at that point for me. It was coming on strong, and nothing was stopping it.
Okay.
Not even me. I couldn't stop it if I wanted to. It's like, now's your time. Buckle the fuck up. We're going. Sorry about my language.
That's all right.
But
I'm a pirate as well. So you're
yeah,
yeah.
I try not to. I really do. But so here we go. Things start. I feel like I'm completely going insane.
Mm-hmm.
Things are starting to happen to me. I'm predicting events. I'm predicting. My intuition's going nuts. It's always been good. It's always been good, but not like this. I then start having all these different abilities coming at me, like being able to pause the clouds in order to look at the moon before it closed back in. And all these different abilities just kept faster than I could even learn how to use them. So I then was turned on to a woman who did sound baths. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going in martial arts. We did a lot of meditation. So I was no stranger at meditation already. So I started meditating again. And when I did that, I would see things. And again, thinking I'm going wild. And then my ears, just out of the blue, start ringing one day. I'm going, what? I'm calling people, like, anybody's ears ringing? Like, mine are not stopping. This is nonstop. And I'm thinking tinnitus or something like that. So I look it up, ear ringing. And that brought me to this beautiful world of spirituality and this community of people that are in this world. And tinnitus first came up, tinnitus. Then I hear spiritual downloads from Source, the angels talking to you, divine message. And I was like, huh, okay. And then I saw starseed. And then for some, I was like, starseed? Okay, I've always been out there. Let's read what the hell's a starseed?
Mm-hmm.
I read it, and it goes, if you are these things, there was like 7 different little paragraphs or whatever. If you're these, that means you're a starseed. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I am. I know what I am now. Okay, so then I had a place to start. So it was like off and running,
Mm-hmm.
I meet different people. They start asking me questions. Their gifts are like way above mine. But then I just start leaving everyone behind. People who have been in this journey and focused on their journey for 15, 20 years, I start leaving them in the dust. Okay? I'm jumping over everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to a point where none of these spiritual people that I know can help me anymore because they don't see the things I see. They don't do the things I do. So then I was a family. Then I'm booted out of that because I'm now nobody knows what the hell I am.
Right.
Or how I do it. So through the sound baths, then I'm thinking, you know what? Well, I was petting my cat. So I'm petting my cat, and then all of a sudden I see this vision of her soul, and it stops me dead in my tracks. I actually see her soul, and I feel everything about it, and this energy coming from my hand to her, and I'd never felt that before. It was just like boom, it was on. I thought, oh my goodness, and she had so much love and protection for us, and just wanted to, and she was there. She was there to heal and to keep us,
Mm-hmm.
at this level of vibration and grounding. And that was amazing. So then my Reiki master, which I didn't know, she taught it. I knew she did it, but I didn't know she taught. She goes, oh, by the way, I'm starting to teach classes. I'll be doing classes this day, that day. And I go, first one, sign me up right now. Because I was 2 days before that she said that, I was researching Reiki on how do I do it, because I wanted to find out what that energy was. So everything has been coming to me, and you start to see it. Everything is just laid out like little paving stones, boom,
Right.
boom. As I keep going forward, they just keep getting laid, and that's my path. And I keep following those stones that are laid for me.
Right.
So then I'm booked for Reiki. I get a Reiki from her because I'm a mess. One of my spiritual friends, I coached her son in football for several years, and he said, you should try Reiki. He said, you feel like a mess, Kevin. You're a mess. Just go in. So I did. First time I ever experienced energy healing. She's a wonderful woman. Her name is Rebecca Black. She is on Facebook. She's a gorgeous soul. I resonated with her right away, and her with me. That's how I knew that she was going to be the one who taught me Reiki.
Okay.
I had known it right from that point. And I could feel I could just feel how warm and kind she was.
Okay.
So she gave me the session. I saw all kinds of stuff. As soon as she put her hands on me, she goes, I felt her breathe. And it was a gasp. You cannot fake that.
Mm-hmm.
So she breathed. I go, are you all right? She goes, you are so open. You are, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And she's just she goes, you're so special. She goes, I don't know why you're here, but you are here for a really, and I'm getting so many goosebumps right now as I tell the story. She says, you're here for a really special purpose. She goes, I don't know what that is, but I have never felt somebody so open like this. And she said that I was so special in a way that nobody in my entire life had. And it hit me so hard in my heart. I started crying right there. I couldn't even hold it. I was just, and it was just gone. I was a mess, and just let it flow, because I never felt such love from someone who was nearly a stranger to me, and saw it, and saw in me what I felt in me that my family couldn't even tell me, And it just broke my heart wide open, and everything just spilled. My lips started to vibrate, my face, everything was like, everything was vibrating. I felt like a cell phone on a table when it goes off. That's what I felt like. And it was incredible. Finished the session, it got done. I couldn't even stand up. And she had the tuning fork me. She had to ground me and get me back because that right there was like pure heaven to me, that session. And my goodness, so she was it. I went to more sound baths, met a lot of nice ladies there. Hi, Pete. And I met just beautiful, beautiful people. And then they broke free because the first sound bath I went to was an outdoor one. I just kind of wandered in, the new guy. And then these women would come up to me and say, we were all afraid before, but that first time we saw you, and this was when I was just feeling shit and things were going on, they all said, we could feel your energy come in before we even saw you. You have got the strongest energy we have ever felt. They go, us ladies were just in bliss. We could feel it radiating off of you. And I'm like, what? Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. That's cool. Thank you. And that was just the start. Then it just snowballed. A lot of cool things started happening. So let's get to the dark night of the soul. Okay, so first of all,
before you do that, before you get there, with all that has been brought forward in this moment now, that little boy that grew up bullied and misunderstood and never really told how love works, but you kind of sort of knew how it works. What do you tell that little boy now, from this point up to that massive energy acknowledgement from the first person ever gave
I've had
you?
lots of talks. I've had lots of talks with that little boy.
Yeah.
Lots of talks. Yeah, those I'll keep to myself. Those are between me and him.
Okay. All right. Well, we all.
But I would love to tell you, but there is some of that in my Dark Night story.
Okay.
But yeah, so the family broke apart all through this. The 2020 was like a massive shift, and the family just started crumbling. It really did. I had enough of everybody. I was treated like shit when I worked with my family. I was treated worse than anybody in that whole company. So, it just keeps going. It keeps going. It keeps going. And then one day I broke. I was getting so, and here's where I just start getting kicked in the ass, and it's time to go. I was so broken by the way my family had been, and my heart could not absorb anymore. Okay? I have absorbed everything for 40 odd years and kept it. I knew nothing about transmutation. I knew nothing about any of that. I was an outdoors person, so that helped unknowingly, kept me grounded. Okay? If I were somebody in a city who lived in a great big apartment, a multi-floor building where you're surrounded by people's energy on all sides, everywhere, and everything's concrete, I think I would have been dead. Probably. Okay. I don't think I could have made it through what I went through.
Right.
So back. Oh goodness, I just get going and I lose track of myself. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
So we start moving. The family crumbles. I just can't absorb anymore, and it was a story, and I basically blew up. It was just one call from somebody at that company, and it was a family member, and it like broke. That was all it took. It broke.
The
I
straw that
hung right up. I hung up the phone. I sent him a text. I said, I'll be in this evening with the keys to your truck and all of your tools. I am done. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Okay.
Here I am and everything hits you. Every responsibility as a decent man came into my head all at once. How am I going to pay this mortgage? How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? What the shit? Everything just dumped on me like a great big dumpster of garbage fell on top of me. And it just buried me at that point.
Right.
Oh, my Lord. And I'm trying to dig out of all this garbage and sort through all these feelings that then pop up at odd times. And that's the ascension journey. That's our roller coaster. Now I'm with everybody now, okay? That's probably watching here today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on this roller coaster now, some really great high energy days, some beautiful times, but the lows are low. The lows are so low. And that is when stuff would come up and arise. It's like, I haven't thought about this in 25 years. What in the world is going on here? No. I don't want this in my head. But it all came out because I had to work through it, properly transmute it, kill my inner demons, destroy them all. And trust me, we've got them.
Yes, we do.
Just obliterate them. And then a couple years into this, everybody says you have multiple dark nights of the soul. Well, I sure as hell hope not. My dark night of the soul lasted almost 2 weeks. And for the first 9 days of my dark night of the soul, I was awake. I did not sleep for 9 straight days. I went to work. I functioned. I still tried to make money for my family to live. Even up to that 9th day of no sleep. And I was so miserable. I was so miserable. But what weighed on me during that, I'm sorry, I missed a crucial point.
Oh,
what happens during
before you say that, yes, Rose, I did see where you say it does get easier. For some people, the dark night of the soul gets easier, and there are some that have dark nights of the soul continuously in different areas of their life. So everybody is lucky. I guess we are all individuals and we all experience differently. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay.
You do. Everyone will experience it differently. I compare everybody else's dark night of the soul as my trough of the wave. I'm on this crest where I'm high as a kite, and when I hit that low, it feels like how most of the people in this ascension process describe their dark nights of the soul.
Right.
So those were my lows.
Right.
If you can imagine.
Okay.
So
a
true dark night of the soul strips you of everything you were just given.
Yes.
Everything. I was stripped of all those abilities. I was stripped of the vibration. I was disconnected from source. I was cut off. All these amazing things that kept me sane for these years were gone. I was left with me. A shell. I was left with just blood, guts, and what you see here. I felt like garbage. I felt like it was terrible. Like I didn't even want to be here. I didn't want to exist.
Was that what loneliness what that definition for me. I know it was that definition of loneliness. That's what mine was. I
Hmm.
knew that first
Oh
hadn't kind
no,
of
because I love being alone.
yeah,
I know
not
what loneliness
but
is.
lo- alone and being and having that loneliness where it's
Hmm.
just yourself and you going through whatever you're going through.
Oh,
You're all laid, everything, all of you is laid
hmm.
out in front of you all at once.
Yes.
You feel like the lights were turned off. Source turned the lights off and said, think about it.
Yeah.
Kind of like your parents that said, okay,
You're
go
grounded. You're cut off from everything until you get better, until you do better. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I lost it, and I felt like a worthless piece of shit. Like I didn't deserve to be on walking this earth.
Mm.
That, that's what I felt like. So going night after night, and this was in the dead of winter, okay? I also had the seasonal depression on top of that because I'm a sun worshiper. So I slept outside on the grass with a pillow from my couch, no blankets, just a pair of sweatpants and a hoodie in the dead of an Ohio winter.
Oh,
It was below freezing. Every single night, it is at least 20 degrees, and I slept outdoors. I was I couldn't be in the house. I had to do something. You stay awake for 9 days. You're going to do anything you can possibly do to get some sleep. But I would go outside and close my eyes. This was after the fact, and just sleep outdoors some nights. Those were my low points too, not just the dark night. When I would hit those lows, I'd be sleeping in the grass in the dead of winter, not even getting cold. And then I started realizing, like, my goodness, we're capable of some amazing stuff.
we are.
So on that dark night of the soul, on the ninth day when I broke, because you can only do it for so long,
Mm-hmm.
and I finally broke. I have I've got a Christmas tree up in my dining room that I won't take down. It's got ornaments on it that my great aunt made.
Hold on just a second.
Go
Energy,
for
thank
it.
you for joining me. Thank you for taking your break time and joining us. Loved having you here. Gisela, I don't think I have had a dark night. I'm going to tell you, you would know if you've had one. You definitely would. You would know. Even a small one, you would know. Um, so if you haven't had one, you might not ever have one, or
Yeah,
or
it just might not be in the cards
yeah.
for you.
And don't think that you're missing out on something. Don't think that's your spirituality is dependent on you having a dark night. It means that your soul helped you align while you were growing up, so that you didn't have anything held over to take you in there, and that's a good thing. All right. So oh, you love my hair. Thank you so much. All right, we're gonna let him get back to welcome, Jill.
Yeah. I'll try to get through this now. Now we're at the good stuff. Okay, so the good stuff I call it, yeah. So the ninth night, I've got a Christmas tree still up. It's been up now for 3 or 4 seasons now. I just can't take it down. It's so beautiful in the dining room. So I go in there. Something calls me to pick up one of the ornaments because my great aunt made porcelain dolls, porcelain ornaments. She was very good. Okay, very, very good. And they were so intricate and detailed. And I held one of those ornaments that she made for me. I got one every Christmas. And then I grabbed a little ornament that I made when I was in preschool. And I held them. Oh, my feet are really starting to tingle. I held them both in my hands and I fell to the ground. I fell right there on my dining room floor and I cried for about 3 hours nonstop, just sobbing, bawling all over the floor over these two ornaments. And I talked to baby Kevin a lot that night for hours. And I talk to my great aunt, and I just wanted to be with her. I just wanted her there with me so bad. She always knew what to say. She just was so incredible. But, so there I was, and I was there till the next morning, and my kids were getting ready for school, and here's their dad, and I looked like a death. I was dead. I was so dead, and I couldn't even get up. I couldn't even push myself up off the floor. This is a dark night of the soul.
Yes.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't, and I'm just lying there and feeling embarrassed, like I'm letting my children down, all kinds of stuff. I'm like, what in the hell, Kevin? Are you a what? And then I knew I had to get the people that did the wrongs to me together in front of me, and I had to just let it all out.
Okay.
So I did. The day that it came to where I was supposed to do it, I did it. They came over unknowing.
Mm-hmm.
They were still their same old selves, and I knew it was not going to go well.
Mm-hmm.
But I needed to get it out of me. I needed 40 some years of pain to come out of me right now, all at once.
Mm-hmm.
So I was as calm as I am now here, you and I just let it all go. They were fuming. They were loud. They were yelling. They were then trying to, as narcissists do, still grasping for that one shred, that one thing that they can flip this and make me the bad person.
Right.
Oh, and they tried. They brought up some things, and I sit there and I look at them straight in the eye. I said, are you kidding me right now? I said, I know what you're doing. I'm going to move on to my next topic. And I would just go. I said, I'm not doing this to hurt you guys. I'm not. I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm doing this to save my life. And they kept yelling, you need a psychiatrist. You need to talk to a professional. I said, I'm not talking to someone. I'm not talking to a 30-year-old or a 20-some-year-old child who has not experienced a fraction of what I have. I'm not doing that. Right. They have no right to tell me. And could you imagine what kind of a field day they would have with what's going on? Mm-mm. No way.
Right.
So I'd be on so many meds. No way. No freaking way. They would immediately go to their prescription pad and start writing. And they'd get writer's cramp or writer's block probably too.
Yeah. I had to tell the doctor, hey, look, you open my medicine cabinet, I look like a 90-year-old. I tell them, I'm cutting back. Matter of fact, I'm cutting back. And then, of course, COVID helped with that because I couldn't renew half the stuff because you can't go anywhere for 3 years.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Right.
But, yeah, so that's that. I lay it all out because you don't want to. Oh, God, who wants to set their family down and just dump a ton of shit on them?
Right.
Well, it was time. That's when you start figuring out boundaries and protecting your energy. And there it was. I said, I forgive you. I said, I forgive all of you. I really do. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to forgive you for everything you've done. And I'm reminding you of what you've done. I just want it out of me. And I said, this is my help right now. Right. I had so many people in the spiritual community helping me. They were my therapist, and they really did. There were so many beautiful souls who helped me get through this with just questions here and there. Mm-hmm. They didn't act put out by my questions. They were so patient with me. And I was never used to that because I didn't grow up with that patience in the house.
Right.
But and then I still went on homegrown, even, about the boundaries. I still had to learn. I
Hmm.
still had to evolve. So Reiki then came, and well, so, all right, after I dropped all that shit off, okay, to my family, the next day, I'm not shitting you, I start feeling lighter. I start feeling my energy come back. And then I cry again, okay? Because I actually went to the chiropractor because I was in such a mess, so tight. I just wanted everything cracked. And as soon as he realigned me, I cried in his freaking office because, yeah, here I am talking about crying I don't cry all the time, but I will. I felt this energy come up when he aligned me, and I felt it, and it was all of it rushing right back to me.
Right.
Source turned the switch back on. It's like, all right, bro, we just took you to the brink of death, and you still fucking stood up and you killed all those demons. You
Right.
just killed them all. That's why I couldn't sleep for 9 days. They wouldn't let me. If I would have rested 1 freaking hour, I would not have made it through the other side. Those 9 days, every waking minute of them was for me to kill all those demons, okay?
Hmm.
And it took every bit of that time and almost my life to do it.
Right.
Dark night of the soul. So, yeah.
It's
And when
Dark Night of the
someone
Soul.
and when after it was done, somebody goes, "Oh yeah, you'll get more of those." I go, "No,
It-
no, no." That's
Kevin,
what I was like.
Kevin, it just
No.
depends, I've had the major one was a heavy duty one. That
Mm,
was uh that was the major one was the shedding of a lot of layers of things that
mm,
make sense to me that were I, I was allowing through, especially where religion was concerned, because I grew up a very good Baptist little girl,
mm,
right? But I had tons of questions. I was always the odd girl out because I had questions that would, as a kid, put adults in the fear box,
mm.
and would always tell my mom, you need to uh, tell her, she needs to. I grew up. Um,
Jesus.
that,
Whoop. Sorry, my bad.
I grew up in an area where it was kids should be seen and not heard. So
Uh,
even though my mother didn't mind me asking questions, because if she didn't know the answer, she would encourage me to go out and find
mm,
whatever that answer was for whatever puzzle piece I needed to move.
sure.
So for me, my dark night was I was always moving forward in my spiritual journey, right? But not everybody was with me while I was
Hmm.
doing it. And I was still very much centered on other people and what their perspective of who I am and what I'm doing. And always, kind of in the background saying, am I doing it right? Well, when my dark night,
Mm,
man, all how I knew I was in it, I was literally lost my job, right?
mm,
Which it never bothered me, Kevin, that um, uh, I worked with companies that I would help build them up, and then somebody would come in and buy them, and then of course they would lay off.
yeah.
It was known, but I never had a thought about not having a job. I always had a very good portfolio or resume, and I
Mm,
got one. This last layoff, it was different. It was
mm,
thing. It wasn't like anything that I had ever embarked on. And I started going, well, what's wrong with me? It wasn't what's changed about the industry. It was what's wrong with me. And at
mm-hmm.
the time, the owner of the condominium that I was renting or leasing decided to sell. So we had to be out in, I think, 2 months, 60 days.
Mm,
So it's like, here's another one. And then it's still, what's wrong with me? Usually things just, move. I never have to think about them. So
mm-hmm.
what am I doing wrong? You know, how come the universe isn't working for me? I mean, I know I only just got into the law of attraction, but it was working before, you know, and
Right.
I did not know that I just felt alone because I couldn't at that point be connected with anybody who could answer the question. My mom passed away. She's been gone, you know, had been gone almost 20 years. So she
Mm.
wasn't my go-to person anymore. And literally, I was I was looking, man. I was, you know, I was holding in the tears. I was, you know,
Yeah.
I had these teenage kids. I was a single mom. You know, I went back to the table of, you know, this fucking wouldn't have happened if my ex-husband didn't do this
Hmm.
when, you know, literally
Yeah.
down a different rabbit hole with not infinite possibilities, with everything crashing on me. And literally it took, I think it was a Monday morning. I was at the computer. I was trying to, you know, look and find jobs and places. And I got a call from, matter of fact, I think it was a Saturday morning. And Saturday morning, I'm on the computer looking for jobs,
Mm.
for the next, you know, what I'm going to try to fill up my week, right?
Yeah.
And hold back the tears, and my daughter's walking by, and my sons are doing whatever, and the dog's having a great time, and I'm just feeling miserable. But I didn't know I was in a dark night. All I knew,
Hmm.
heard everything, and I didn't know it was my ego then. I heard everything negative that my ego could tell me, from this shit wouldn't have happened if you had to just listen to somebody and not went on your merry little way, married your high school sweetheart and wanted those
Hmm.
point three kids, because that was the download. Got a
Yeah.
phone call. I picked up the phone. I said hello. And all I did was I heard my best friend's voice. I hadn't talked to her for like, I think, a month,
Mm.
many months, because she had just gotten married and she came back from her honeymoon. And she said, "Hi, Sandy." A pause. "How you doing?" And I swear to you, Kevin, if my tears were river, was a
Mm.
if my tears were that river or ocean or that lake that you were standing next to this morning, it all came out then. And my dog
Mm.
stopped, and the dog looked at me, and
Mm.
my friend paused on the phone, and it was just, I'm lost. That was my dark night. I
Uh,
didn't know that but I had been going through it a long time.
mm.
And it was just everything. That was the accumulation of it. And I said the same thing. Somebody told me later that that was it, and then told me, "Oh, you get a lot of them." And I went, "I can't go through that one again. That
Yeah.
wrenched, there's nothing left. There's no tears left.
Oh,
How am I through that
yeah.
again?" Right?
Hmm. Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know, but I did go through a couple of them based on stories that were still left inside of me, that, you know,
Mm.
the little girl that had, you know, you know, held on to some stories that weren't great for the greater good of ourselves, you know. And then
Yeah.
we have to talk to that inner child. We kind of move
Oh, for
away, for
sure.
sure.
You do. Yeah.
Oh,
People don't think about that. They don't think about going back, but you can heal. And that's the thing I learned so much. You can go back and heal
right.
those past generations, even if it's yourself. You can go back and you can do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It starts
And
with,
it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary to do that. For me, it was.
yeah. I have a question. I don't know if the person is still in here, and I'm hoping it's a question, but let's see. Okay. Why do we go through dark nights of the soul? That's a great question, and I think she's still in the room. Um, Source gave me my answer. Why? I can only give the answer that Source gave for me, because we are we are are we are individually Source moving through in and as this now moment that we're living. So Source is going to work with you based on what your needs are and
Hmm.
and what you're asking for. Some people will never go through a dark night because
And what's your biggest block? What's that hardest block that you've got to work through?
right.
That's what it
And
that's what it showed me and some of my other friends. That's what it showed them
right.
also.
Yeah. And sometimes it's when it happens more often when you're on a spiritual path than as opposed to when you're unconscious and you're working from your ego's perspective. But
Oh
even
yeah.
ego's perspective, there are things that happen in your life that will cause you to have a dark night to awaken your soul. And it's not really awakening your soul. Your soul is already always awakened, but that awakens us to our soul. And then
Hmm.
our soul has that moment that says, okay, let me help you now.
Yeah. Let me guide you. It's like, come with me.
And
Yep.
I hope, and it's
Sure.
not giving you a dark night to hurt you. It's giving you that dark night is kind of like the dark night is allows the fire to allow the fire to ignite, to allow you to
Hmm.
hear your soul say, okay, see, the fire is so bright. Go find out what inner you has the story that's holding you back.
Hmm. Yep.
Right. And then you bring that inner you forward. You get to extend your hand because you're the only one that can bring that you into the light. It's You are the only one that's going to trust to do that.
Hmm.
Okay. And then when you bring it to the light, you get to tell you what story you want to replace the old story with. You get to.
Exactly. It's time to start a new story and start writing it now.
Yeah. And let.
The way you want to, because you're in charge now and you realize that you're in charge and that all these other things that are exterior coming at you, those are all just siphons. They just take your energy. It's what everything's designed to. It's to
Right.
feed off your attention and to take your energy.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that helps you. Um, there's so much more to it. The reason why there's so much more to it is because we're the depth of our body, mind, and soul as a being is very deep. And I I I know that we human beings use the word trauma a lot,
Yeah.
right?
It's a
And
go-to word for sure.
for sure. And just think about this. Our soul loves a label. Not our soul, but
Or ego.
our ego that okay, this is how source wants me. Our ego that likes to portray itself as our soul. It likes to pretend a lot
Hmm.
so that your trust, and it has you hold on to things. And the more you hold on to it, your ego gets fed a lot. It really does. It siphons on
Yeah.
energy. It's lower energy, but nonetheless, your energy it allows you to resonate in. So
Hmm.
sometimes our nights of the soul quiet your ego so that your soul can have a moment to talk with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep. For
for
sure.
that was
Yeah. Yeah.
so.
So yeah, my power rushed back to me, and then I was kind of on the mend,
When you see me do this,
basically.
I'm waving at the people.
Oh
So
yeah. Oh, I get it. I get it. I know who you're waving at. Yep.
okay.
Um, but yeah, and then it was the upswing, then the rebuilding, and the seasons still continued to change. Things still started to clear, shedding ego along the way, and watching every gift just flourish, okay? At just the right time, because when we're ready for them and we've done the work, that's when we get them. You have got to do it. You've just got to get I think it's as close to enlightenment as possible, really. But being that child, not being afraid to be that child has really helped. I've always been a child at heart.
Me too.
You know, I do. I do everything. I don't do what near 50-year-olds do. I do what my kids do. That's what I do. But the the energy, everything then just started to grow. And I knew it would. I had this in my heart. And my intention was on the first day of Reiki. Well, not the first day of Reiki. I'm sorry. This may have been Reiki. This may have been the master class. But my intention on my crystal grid was that I, I will heal the world and everybody and every being that willingly wishes to be healed. That was my intention, and it still is to this day. I will heal everyone, and I've seen it in visions. I see me just standing with just a bunch of people all kneeling and looking up. It's very interesting, and that's the path I still keep heading towards. The energy just keeps building and building and building inside of me to where you don't even have to be in the same country as me. You don't even have to be on the other end of this. You don't have to be on screen with me. You can feel my energy if I want you to.
Right.
Absolutely. And it just pours from me. It just pours.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. Yeah. No,
and then we got the Kundalini awakening in there. If you're fortunate enough to have one of those, that's another experience, which is scary as shit, but it's wild.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you've got access to a whole new energy.
Yeah.
That is what is included with me.
Right. Yeah.
You get it all.
You get it all. Yeah. It's
when you have a healer, yes, that's healed themselves almost to completion. Ooh, they're able to channel a ton of energy.
Yeah, that's what source. Well, I know I was dealing with another person that I was trying to help, and they had, they were mentioning, I think I could say this on IG. They were dealing with masturbation and having, it was a constant and that kind of thing. And I just told him, I said, well, that energy that's channeling through you, it doesn't have any, it source had told me when I was going to talk with him, I was wondering why source was bringing it up. It's about creative energy. We've been taught our whole life to call it sexual energy. And we break it down to this sexual act, but it's a creative act. It doesn't take
and going back to
right.
And the one comment, intention is everything, know. So
it is.
Where's your intention lie with it? Is it just to seek dopamine?
or is it to seek creation? Because I just kind of source just kind of shared with them that you're creating, whether you're a man or male or female, you're creating the orgasm. You're creating the actual act of what makes you feel good. Yes, you may have a person in mind, or you may have that magazine in mind, or whatever, but you're the creator, right? So when I first heard the word Kundalini, and I was like, I was like, okay, well, I keep getting creative energy. I keep getting creative energy. And then I heard another young lady mention it, and it was like, okay, it's so very close to your sexual energy, and you got to watch it. You got to make sure that you're, because when that opens up, you can just, dive into this, erotic kind of feeling, and you got to watch it.
Mm.
And then I I went back to my meditational kind of thing, and I said, okay, wait a minute, source. You told me sexual energy, blah, blah, blah. Creative energy, is this the same thing? Or are we using a different label? Or are we using a different term? And I could feel, actually, I had a vision of source just kind of being, it was source, but it wasn't source. It was the vision of my mother with her hands on her hips and her head tipped and said, well, what do you think, Sandra? And I just looked at her and went, yes. And that was like it. Okay, I got it. But it's a powerful force because it's a creative force. It's like,
oh yeah,
God created the atom with it. God created the what's beneath an atom. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's what source created. The hold on, let me listen. Created, manifested, and unmanifested with. Source created the unmanifested. We haven't manifested from it, but that's where it's like thinking of Santa Claus's big bag of toys and all that energy packed into it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's magnificent force.
Yeah.
But you've had for a kid. I mean,
Kundalini for me wasn't sexual at all.
Yeah.
That awakening that I had was not, that was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
But yeah, that's, but that's a whole other experience. Once you have it, you'll know. And that's another awakening that's not meant for everybody to have access to that.
Right.
I was called to meditate urgently. It's like, you need to meditate right now, let's go. And laid right there on that Reiki table and I grabbed 7 stones, of which called me.
So you had already been, this is fast forward, and you had already been through your dark night. You had already been, and this the awakening gift that this is the next gift that's just.
Yeah, Kundalini is something completely different, and you gotta. It's a blessing from a higher power. It really is. Okay. So that was later. Yeah, and after that, then another world. I was already really powerful, but then a whole new world opened up, and then other people who were Kundalini awakened could recognize that in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I only know a couple people on IG who have had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty rare, but it was interesting. Everything I'm told to do everything. I don't read books. I don't read about spirituality. I do not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I have one book. Well, I have stones, like the crystal, the crystals and stones and stuff. I like to read about those.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as influencing my path or anything like that, I read nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I have read nothing. Everything is inside of me, and that's because of how severe and how deep I turned inward to do all this work.
Right.
Everything was shown to me. Everything that I needed to see and know, it was shown, and I know it. I already know.
Right.
I already know.
All of us, everything is already there.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's already there. So, I think for everybody, we're going to, a source is going to open up it and make us aware, and whether it's by a book or a video, or whether it's by being with a powerful shaman, right?
Yes.
That was a question that I would,
let's get some Reiki questions.
Okay. Well, this one, I don't know if this one leads towards something else or into a deeper awakening, because I will tell you, I'm learning from those about their craft because I don't know it enough.
Sure. Oh yeah. Ask away.
Right? So shamanic healing, is that the same as Reiki? Is it a different version of Reiki? Do you do that?
Shamanic healing, I'm not familiar with that at all. I
Okay.
haven't been called to research shamans.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
So,
what I do know is that I can do every single thing that everyone else can do, along with what I can do that nobody else can do.
okay.
If that makes
No,
sense.
it makes sense.
Card reading, card reading comes to me. All these metaphysical gifts, the psychic abilities, the card readings, the energy healings, exorcisms, magic,
Mm,
alchemy. I can do all of it.
okay.
Atmokinesis,
Okay, stop.
hydrokinesis. I can do every single thing there is to do.
And something about something what was that?
The what?
I think it ended with kinesis.
Oh, yeah. Atmokinesis and hydro is where you control the elements in the
Oh,
air, the
okay.
clouds, the
Okay.
sun. Hydro is the water.
I'm very connected to the water, and I'm very
All
connected to
possible.
the
You can make an entire body of water shift one way, even when the wind wants it to go a different direction.
yeah,
Bring it in and raise, and just it's amazing.
yeah. So
But
I
there is, just to clear things up, nothing I say has any ego behind it. Nothing. I've been through too much shit. Everything I say is truthful because it happened. I can do those things. And
yeah.
that's the no self-doubt
No,
either. None.
no.
Not
When
killing that.
right, when you think about it, and and this has to come through my reading or shared reading, and people using the gifts that Jesus had, right?
Hmm.
Okay, first of all, I just lay it out to anybody who's in the room. I have come from, like I said, a Baptist background. I've moved through I've moved through a lot of church background, trying to find all of my puzzle pieces, making sense of them.
Yeah.
And when I moved through my born again Christian stage, this is where the largest puzzle piece for me had to make sense. And that was when I began to understand that I wasn't born in a sinner. That was for me
Hmm.
that very
Oh yeah.
very it was a very detrimental part of the story that really
Hmm.
hard as having to pull back all these layers.
Yeah. Don't start anybody's story off negatively.
Yeah,
No way. Don't do that.
yeah.
Yep.
But when I was doing that on that path, thinking that I'm helping people uh, merge with their soul, it was no. I was telling people, "Oh, you're damned. You're going to go to hell." But here, guess what? There's a
Mhm.
Jesus died for your sins and blah blah blah. And if you believe on the blood of Jesus, you'll be healed and blah blah blah. And that worked for me for about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 years. But with that came stipulations of things that I could not do, or it came with it came like the quick pro quo that you had in Aladdin's lamp, where Aladdin said, "You got these three wishes that you can have, but you can't do this, or this, right?"
Mhm.
So for me, what happened was that I I had to do a shift from that. So there were a lot of gifts that were opening up to me that weren't allowable in
Mm.
the church religion,
Yeah, I hear
right?
you. Yep.
Right? And you couldn't think highly of yourself. You couldn't be sure of yourself.
Mhm.
You couldn't that you knew, right? And you had to believe that Jesus died for your sin because you were a sinner. right? So all the gifts that were happening to me, I couldn't tell anybody about them because they weren't the part
Right.
of the, right. And
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. I couldn't talk either.
yeah, you know, and then uh understand, for me, I just understood that Jesus didn't come to shed blood for it. He did shed blood because he was put on a cross and he did die. I get all of that, but his words were the what he came to bring. He came to say, "Oh, you see me walking on water? Well, I'm not the only one that can do that.
Yeah.
You can do it too.
Yeah.
You see me multiplying the fishes? I'm not the only one that could do that. You could do that too. These things that I do, you can do too, and greater things that you can do. And but in the outer world,
Oh
we're
yeah.
not supposed to talk like that and believe
They
like,
have a religious system set up that you do not cross, and that was yeah. Their religious system and narrative was pretty strong. And when, one man stands up against it and preaches what you're capable of, oh my goodness.
oh my goodness, right. Oh, at the same thing, we don't want a martyr. And then at that
Yeah.
particular time, the Jewish those people were looking for their savior, but Jesus wasn't the savior. So Jesus became the Gentiles' savior.
Yeah.
But and to work for the Gentiles, the Gentiles had to believe that they were a sin. They had to believe for it.
Yeah.
And for me, that there was my biggest puzzle piece. And my mother said, "Go for it." And this was before my mother passed away.
Mm.
But before my way, I remember her said, "Go for it. Find out where find out how to put a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah.
There's a way. You just have
Yeah.
to sit with it a while.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make it. I don't think my mother was. I don't think she thought that she was on a spiritual path or anything. I just thought that I believe that she was an enlightened being, just being her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, it was like, okay, when people aren't, following my path, I can't make you follow my path, but I wanted to help them in the liberation to do that. So it took me a while to just go, okay, I'm going to say who I am and what I believe. And that's my perception and my truth until, guess what? The universe says the only constant in the universe is change. So it's time for me to learn something new. I'm going to stay steadfast in what source has already given me. And there were some gifts, and then all of a sudden light language came.
Yeah.
Right. And source said, well, when you were a kid, you said you were going to talk that. You said you were going to speak like that. And I said, I say that. And I said, oh yes, when I went to a holiness church, first time I ever saw them speaking in tongues. And I looked and I told my best friend, one day I'm gonna talk like that. One day I'm gonna talk with God like that. And my best friend at that time, she looked at me and she says, okay, Sandra, let me know when that, right? Not a yes, but well, so far it worked out for you already, Matter of fact, and then of course I got my first family member that was in my feed, and when they heard me doing a prayer, I don't know, I think I was on live with Marcus and Shauna Lee, and that's when I first got I was able to use my light language through source. And one of my family members said, what were you doing?
Oh yeah, I feel you. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So anyway, you know what? We have not hit on all the questions, and we're about to go on about an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Whatever you want to
do. So you talked about Okay. So we see that you do your workouts. We see those.
Mhm.
We not. I was about to say glutes, but not glutes. Well, yes, glutes with the clothes on. We see the glutes, and we see the legs,
Yeah.
and we see the Hi, Rick. We see all that you are doing for your outer body, right? Has through what you've been through, has your body always been that way, or did you have to rebuild your body as far
No,
as
no, my body's always been this
yeah,
way. It always responds really well to movement.
uh-huh. Even through your depression and the dark nights and whatnot? Yeah.
Yeah, you'll change a bit. You know, you get ups and downs. If you don't keep that steady, your steady diet and this and that, the body's very reactive to what you put in it. And this journey's pushed a lot of things away from me, like red meat, alcohol. Um, yeah, when you go through this journey, most of us can't drink alcohol anymore. We
Mm-hmm.
just don't. It just does not resonate. And red meat's another big thing that I've seen also. But no, my vessel has been kept very, very strong. I've never broken anything. I am into all kinds of stuff too, okay? I am not easy on this body. I've been in construction my whole life, weightlifting my whole life, water sports my whole life, everything else that you could possibly imagine. I've been in the sun every chance I get. You know, I should look like a piece of beef jerky right now, but I don't.
Yeah.
Everything,
Yeah.
everything about this vessel has been kept strong. Every joint, everything. I'm just how I'm made, perhaps, but I believe I was kept strong for a purpose. For a divine purpose.
Okay.
Now, believe me, for always having what society dubs as a perfect physique, I got picked on more than any obese individual for
Mm-hmm.
looking the way I do. Everybody took. I was always labeled as the arrogant a-hole because I didn't speak much to people. I don't talk too much to people, and I look good all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is how I wake up. My hair just looks like this. My skin is dark. Every muscle's proportioned. It's the way it is. And it was just, you just get brutalized in every single aspect, pretty much. I think it's just my test. It was just my
Yeah.
test. But I don't. I don't. This is how I've walked around my whole life. This is all I know. I
Okay.
don't know obese. I'm sorry. I don't know that. I can't relate. I can eat a shit ton of food and I still will not know obese.
Right. Right.
It's the nature.
It's
It's the nature of me.
right. I did.
But the vessel, it helps your inner. How you eat affects your
Right.
vibration. The Western diet is horrible.
Yes.
Walk around, look at people's grocery carts in the store. If it's all full of boxes, they're they're on the fast track to the death of their physical body.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Everything I put in single ingredients. I try to, okay? A form of protein, a meat, fish, chicken, green vegetable, dark greens, a good carb, like a I even like red potatoes. I love the little red potatoes. Potatoes, white rice, it doesn't matter. Brown and white, it does not matter whatsoever. There's only like a 0.5% difference in carbs. It's like so low, it's not even worth it. So I eat for the flavor. I like white better than that.
Yeah.
Avocado, usually, fresh fruits. That is high vibrational food itself.
Right.
all the sludge, the canola oils, the high fructose corn syrup, that's the preservatives, the dyes, all the shit that is in a meal that contains, let's say, a piece of roast beef, mashed potatoes and gravy and some corn in a microwave meal.
Right.
Contains enough to keep your vibe low and to keep your ass on the couch with no energy.
Right.
I am so free to channel energy, and I attribute that to how I move my body.
Right.
In the doing exercises, making this move. Energy has got to be moving always. It will get stagnant. What do you think? We say, okay, it's time to remove that stagnant, built up energy. That's from what you ingest, it's from your daily habits. Right. So that diet and exercise for me makes me feel like $1 million every single day of my life.
Okay. Cindy says you could make that meal and it would be healthy. Yeah.
You sure can, but but we're killed by convenience.
Yes.
That's a whole other jar of worms, though. We could go on a 4-hour talk about that. But that's as far as my vessel. Yeah, everything. And I like to show it. I like to show people what you can achieve by feeding yourself, by caring enough about yourself to feed yourself well.
Right.
That's what it comes down. I really, really care about myself. Right. I don't want to be in a doctor's office with all these people poking at me and giving me drugs. I don't want to. That really does not resonate with me at all, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you look at my cart and it's full of one ingredient items.
For me too. Well, you know, when I was a kid, my mother found out that, I don't know if you call it allergic or whatnot, but red meat, beef and whatnot, and maybe not so much. Well, I haven't ate like, what do they call it? Meatloaf with regular beef, anything, because I eat turkey and chicken, and, you know, I make a mean turkey burger, if anybody wants to know. Okay, so, but my mother found out early on that I wasn't, it took my body way too long to digest red meat. Yeah. And even though we weren't having red meat every day, even if it was every other day, it would build up in me. And and anybody who says TMI, you know, you're all adults here, it would make me constipated. And
oh yeah, for sure. That's what it does to a lot of people. Yeah, it does that. Yep.
I would love the turkey burger recipe. Yeah, okay. Well, DM me. I'll give it to you. I'm not afraid to use it. You know what? I'm like my mother and my grandmother. I put the whole seasoning in the kitchen sink in it. You know, I kind of my grandmother were from the South, and they would say, put the kitchen sink in it, you know. Yeah. And dare to be different and try other seasonings, you know, other than salt and pepper. Sometimes I don't even put salt in it because I have other seasonings that just season the food really well. But my mother found that out because being constipated, I would always walk around with this low grade headache. Right. And when, of course, to the doctor, you know, they did the CAT scans and whatnot, they couldn't find anything, and they said, well, my mother's name was Ann. She would say, well, Ann, you know, what's her diet like, you know, and they put 2 and 2 together, and my mother just started noticing what would happen when I eat certain foods. I mean, you know, she have her little notes and what I ate, everything, and then, you know, then she would start not feeding me certain things the next week, and we found out it was the red meat. Yeah.
But yeah, in a nutshell, I just like to feel good.
Yeah. And
I just like to feel good.
My favorite topic, the food body.
Oh, food body. Yeah. Diet. I've been involved in diet and fitness for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I like it. I like the conversation. if we have to have a connection, because what I dealt with, and I'm listening to, it's not to put anybody down and it's not to build anybody up. It's just who I am. It's the first time that when I was a teenager, and I had a friend who had a thyroid problem, and all of the women in the family had thyroid, so they were always dealing with their weight. And any time that my friend and I would get together, and we loved this Mexican restaurant, and I go in being me, and I order my food being me that I'm going to love to eat, because I'm just like you. It's like I'm not going to order anything that does not, we've got these taste buds. We've got sweet and sour for it. And what my friend would do, and she wasn't aware of it, but she would run down everything that was in my food that was not good for her. Oh, bad for her. Okay. Good for, right? So I did this kind of thing, fast forwarded to now everybody's on, either they're vegetarian or they're vegan or pescatarian or whatever that is. I don't keep up with it all.
People like labels. They need a label.
Yeah. So
the people running around the world need labels.
I would have friends on this kick, and when they would say, "Okay, we're coming into town. We're gonna have make a reservation," they would make a reservation at a vegetarian place or right. And I was still in that kind of, I want to please everybody, so I'm going to please them before I please me, right? So I would go to the restaurant thinking that there would be something that I could eat, something that would taste good. And when I left the restaurant, I was hungry. I was unhappy that I spent money for food that I did not, right? Yeah. And here's the ego. I didn't know it then, but the ego is saying, blame them, So what I did instead was, if we're going to dinner, I'd make myself dinner or food before I ate. Then I get shit because I didn't order anything,
The same with me. It's like, I don't want to eat anything here, but it's the same.
Yeah. Right.
It's the same.
So what I'm learning to do is I tell everybody, be you. If you want to be a vegan, then it's okay for you to be. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And
all down to boundaries. Yep.
It's about, the boundaries should be for you, not the boundaries should be for you, not for you to control. So definitely, we have to listen to our bodies. Yes, we do. We have, my body will let me know when I don't have, when I need salt intake. And I'm going to say this because as our bodies change, our bodies sometimes lose things that we fail to put in them on a daily basis that is good for. We say, okay, I want to eat healthy, but if you're not putting iron into your body, if you're not giving yourself enough, for some folks, gluten isn't good, but for other folks, gluten is necessary in small increments in your body. You have to find out who you are inside you and what you need, and then you have to address your body when your body is talking to you, because your body is unique to you. And all I've got to say, Sir Kevin.
Yes.
Sir Kevin, I'm going to say this again. You have taken care of your body really well, because your energy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Will you come back for round 2? Because there was not enough time to talk about.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we go over 2 hours, we'll start losing people.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do a part 2. Take off where we left off.
So
and we'll get to some good stuff, like some serious energy and all that stuff. Yeah.
We can
What do you
even,
got left on the What do you got left on the list?
pardon?
What do you got left on your list of questions?
Oh, we talked about health. I wanted to talk well, we talked a little bit about the trauma and grief from your inner child. We
Yep.
talked about that. But I would like to talk to you about it, not about you about it, but about it and about um, the healing journey that
Mm.
actually not just the inner child goes through, but actually children who are embarking on these gifts opening up.
Oh yeah.
Right? Okay, we as human beings, and I'll just give this for you to think about, and we can pick this up at the end of May or maybe June, because I've got a move that I'm moving. That's what, of course, I'm moving. We're just going to say that, right? So, so in June I will be in another place that has a whole different energy, and I think you're gonna vibe with it. But we've got children, not just children. We've got young adults that are waking up, that are to their gifts before they even know about a spiritual journey, and they're waking up, right? They're waking up to those gifts, and they're being thrown. They're looking at it through the outer eyes, and they're being told, "Oh, medicine. Oh, you're, all the labels that you know, right? Oh, you took too much psychedelics. Your parents took psychedelics when they had you. All those stories." And I want to know how Reiki helps that cycle, right?
Yep. I do Reiki on my kids because my kids are highly not energetic, but their energy is really, really high. So I do.
Yeah.
And youth these days, public school's a mess. Honestly, I can honestly say it's a mess. And there's too much confusion. The kids have access to all the information that we have with our existential crisis rectangles that we carry around with us,
Yeah.
But and it's all there, and it's too much for a child's mind. So when I do Reiki on my kids, it is an impact because there is so much going on in their brain. Too much. For their age.
It's kind of overload.
Too much for their age and proper. Yeah, it is. It's overload.
So yeah, I do.
Yeah, but very good. Let's do a part 2. That'd be cool.
Yes.
And then we'll get into the healings and what the healings are capable of. That's fun.
Yeah, I think that's the next leg of our collaboration journey.
Sure. We can even give a demonstration if
yes,
if somebody's brave enough to volunteer.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have some people volunteer, right? Right.
Absolutely.
So
but yeah, this will be fun. Cool.
Yeah. So I do believe believe it or not, my May is full. So I went from a person.
Whenever I flow, you tell me when. We'll get you set up.
I'm going to tell you, everybody in the room, put your intentions out there, embody them, invest in you and your creativity, because I went from I think I've been on Instagram for, I don't know, this will be going on 3 years. I started it right before. I started Instagram maybe a year before COVID. And I just embodied it and embodied a lot of things that I set my intention on. And also having a podcast.
Oh, goodness. Oh, yeah.
You're right. Having a podcast.
And going through your journeys, that kind of what you were talking about had reminded me. But going through your journey, clearing things out, because the saying, you get from the universe what you put out into it, right?
Right.
So my vibe had changed so much that actually so much changed. My actual physical features even changed. I'll show you a picture of a couple driver's licenses of me with like 5 years difference. It's
Mm-hmm.
wicked, but you can change about anything. Your intentions are extremely strong when you have your will behind them.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, intention's incredible. And just look for an example. Oh my goodness. Now I'm drawing a blank. I had one in my mind and I just lost it. Oh no. Oh well, it wasn't that important then. We'll just flow on to the next one.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, I don't remember.
So, I got from that point of, I said, I had people come into my world, drop off some information, and leave as quickly as
Mm,
they showed. But
mm,
all I had to learn a lot of the information and then do hands-on, which Source said you could do it. So,
mhm.
guys can find repeats not only in my bio, but if you want to join me as my family on YouTube, please do. Okay. You can find all that information in my bio under my social tap link. Also, I'm on Spotify and iTunes. I went from
Mm.
just doing a YouTube where I just talked about things, not YouTube, a podcast where I just talked to my camera and and
Mm.
and uploaded it to actually having people to talk to and convert,
Yeah,
right?
it
And
is cool. It
right,
is so cool having another soul on. Yeah,
yeah, and
absolutely.
to actually having April full, May full, and then having to say, "Oh, I'm gonna have to put you on June,"
Oh,
and then thinking to,
yeah.
well, Sandra, it's your podcast. You can have a podcast on a Wednesday if you want it. So maybe
Exactly. Yeah,
we'll do a special episode on Wednesday with Kev.
sure. That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know.
All right, because we
Absolutely.
still got a lot to talk about. So you
Oh,
guys, let me know
goodness.
what, how you think it should flow, and let me know what questions you want me to ask Kev. You know, how deep do we want to go down the Alice's with Kev?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So anyway, so I thank you very much. I do have to
yeah.
go errands. Like I said, I'm Source is what do you call it? Confirming a place for me today, and I'm
Cool.
actually part of the confirmation, so I have to be available. So
Beautiful.
I'm going to thank you very much for and sharing with us, Kev.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And
It's
then
my
we'll
pleasure.
also talk. Actually, we'll also talk more about the wellness center,
Sure.
right?
Perfect.
Lakeside. How that
Lakeside Wellness. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's big stuff in the works with Lakeside Wellness this summer, so stay tuned.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will be give you a drop. I'll drop a hint. I will be teaching this summer, retreat style. So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. So where can they find you?
Find me on Instagram at Lakeside. I think it's Lakes. I don't even look at my own handle half the time. Lakeside.wellness
Yes. Thank you.
76. Yep. I
Yes.
also have a Facebook of the same one, but I don't do too much on Facebook. I don't get much of a good vibe from there, but
Mm-hmm.
you'll see some things there.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah,
So you guys,
absolutely. But yeah, DM me. Anybody's looking for a session, distance, in person, DM me by all means.
he,
You will not be sorry.
no, no, you will not be sorry. This man has some vibrational energy that Source has given him as a gift, and he uses it, and he uses it wisely.
Oh, yes. I'm in service.
Always in service.
Absolutely.
So I
Yeah.
am going to close.
Thank you, Sandy.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Soul Conversations with Sandra has just been blessed. Thank you.
Mm,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Bye.
All right. Till next time.
Until next time, peace, love, joy. All right, so everyone, I thank you, thank you, thank you. I close this this conversation with 10845. All of you that have brought your beautiful energy, I just hope that it has been ignited, that wisdom and understanding rides with it on your day-to-day. Take that energy and create with it. Have a moment in your day, in your now moment, where you get to ask, is my energy, is my thoughts for my greater good, for my greater good, to create? I'm a creator. Let me create. So sit back, have a moment, just a now moment, talk with your inner self and your higher being, and have a great day. Be blessed. Love and light, light and love. Take care.